Hello and welcome everybody to Live Smart Foundational Development on the 2nd of January 2026. So today, my thought for the day, it wasn't a waking thought, but it was a thought that came through as I was waking up. My first thought was to drink warm water upon waking up. I normally have a glass of cold water, down it before I have my coffee. And I read something yesterday about drinking warm water, which will help break down the fats and whatever going on in the body, clear the channels, open up your meridians and all those things. So I'm trying a new thing. I'm always trying something, trying to keep it as natural as possible. Actually, I'm 100% natural between essential oils and using the body and natural ways of being to just be and to grow and to become better and all of those things. So what I wanted to talk about today was change and growth. Both of those are inevitable. Change is going to happen whether you want to change or whether you don't. You can stop it. You can block yourself off. You can, allow other people to drain your energy. In the video that I put out yesterday, I was talking about that, but change is inevitable. If you don't make the moves yourselves, it will be forced upon you one way or another. Okay, so I wanted to I've made a few notes. So if I'm looking sideways and just looking at my phone, I didn't have my pen and paper, which I actually have misplaced with me, but the phone works. Whenever you don't have anything else around you, you have a phone. I'm now working with my big phone, the tablet. That's how I'm making my videos for now, until such time as I can set up with one of those fancy cameras that other people are using on YouTube. But we're learning and we're growing and we're becoming. So it's what I want to encourage for people out there in the world, person to person, group to group, community to community. And what I want to start off with is saying that growth can be painful. Okay. I'm very much about empowering forward movement, forward thinking, positive thinking. However, positive always it's not natural in human form to be positive and all good and wonderful, because you get angry, your emotions come up and they do what they do. But it's in learning to catch the emotions, working with them, turning them into tools, your big strong garden tools, to do the weeding, to work with what you need to work with, to grow and become stronger, better, and able to work with what is in you. It's all within you to grow and to become. That's what we are actually here for. So when I say growth can be painful, it's not only painful for you, it's also painful for those around you. So growth, I've been encouraging my husband to speak out more. He's a lot more introvert. I'm the extrovert, and he's becoming more extrovert. I'll tell you, he's finding his own power. He's stepping out there, and it's the pendulum swing that I've often speak about, is that when you learn a new skill or you try something new, it kind of goes to the far end first, and then it comes in, and then it settles, and it kind of like finds its center somewhere along the way. And you've got to be me. When I say me, I have to be, in the case of my husband, strong enough to understand that he's growing, he's becoming, and he's learning how to manage his power, to stand in his own power and own it. When you encourage your children as well, they learn to stand in their power, and they try new things and they learn new things. And sometimes it can go a little bit to the far side, but you have to kind of give them the space to grow, however, still facilitate the situation. And in the case of my husband, and I use it as an example, not as a this is what I'm going through, la la, but it's in ability to help facilitate your processes as well, is that sometimes it can be quite sharp, and my heart will actually skip a beat, and I go like, ouch, and then I'll get a little tear in my eye. I think it's my inner child that just kind of like, oops, I've just been crapped out, or whatever the case is. But then I take a step back, and the adult comes back in, and I'm like, what, he's growing. Actually, from the adult perspective, that's quite sexy. He's actually like becoming stronger. He's finding his warrior's armor, and he's actually standing his ground, standing up for himself. And I quite like it. So from one edge to the other edge, it's a bit of a, what do they call it? A fence sitting situation. It can be painful. But at the same time, if you actually work with it, sit with it, reflect with it, and contemplate what has just actually taken place, you realize, okay, he's just standing in his power. And people around you will do that. You're going to go through it yourself, and you're going to stand in your own power as you grow and you become stronger. You're going to start thinking. Well, that's how I would facilitate and help guide people to think before just reacting and snapping in a moment. Take a step back, think about it. How do you want to respond that it makes sense for both of you? Sometimes you can't please the other people. It's not about that. First, yourself. What makes sense to you? Explain it to another person, and they then also have their process to work with what you've just grown through or you've come through to explain, or how you are growing with whatever situation or process it is, what it is that you've got to stand your ground for. So it can be painful, right? So other people start reacting differently. You start reacting or responding differently. And let's not talk about reacting. Reacting is like a sharp, instant reaction. Responding is taking a moment, thinking, how am I actually going to speak these words to explain what I've just felt, expressed, what I'm actually going through. We want the best for our circles and our circle. But sometimes, you do outgrow people, and we don't want to say, I'm leaving that friendship, or I'm leaving this relationship, or I'm moving on this way. Sometimes you just need to gently move away. Sometimes you just actually start gravitating naturally towards what does work for you. So you don't need to make this grand exit out of relationships or out of situations. It just kind of happens naturally, and it's the better way to actually go. If people come after you and ask what's going on, we haven't seen you for a while, you can try and explain to them, this is what's happening and I found an interest in this, so I'm just kind of going where I'm feeling pulled at the moment. You can explain it nicely to people so that people do understand this is where it is. Sometimes it's actually an inspiration to them. Other times people are going to go, well, I'm not ready for that, and I'm going to get angry, and they're going to leave your space and go the other way anyway. And that, sometimes you just need to make peace with it. All right. So that is how growth happens. Growth brings change, and it's not a bad thing. It's just it's not comfortable. Okay, people change, then they behave differently. These are just the notes I've made. And oftentimes we're not sure how to handle these changes. So as I've explained, this is where it's going. Our responses change. We don't respond the same way. How are you going to work with that? Are you going to understand that they're changing, shifting? You're more than welcome to say to people, what is actually going on here? That's not a normal response. Why do I feel like I've just been shouted at? You're more than welcome to open up your communication, and I encourage it. I encourage conversations. In fact, with Live Smart Foundational Development, we are opening up conversation pits. That's what I want to call them, conversation pits. Come and have a conversation, but it's not going to be small talk. They might be a bit kind of like, hi, how are you? How was your holiday? What did you have for breakfast? How's the weather? The weather's this and the weather's that. But they can actually go deeper. Those very conversations can actually go so much deeper, because you can talk about how did it make you feel, and not in the psychological terms of how does it make you feel when someone says this to you. Yes, that is part of it, but it's like literally feel into how does it feel. Where are you going with it? How are you growing with those experiences? Everything can go so much deeper. It doesn't have to be shallow talk. I don't enjoy small talk and shallow talk, so generally I gravitate away from it if I can't go deeper. People tend to look at me funny and wonder, what is Tracy on about? So I do tend to make people feel uncomfortable, and that is okay. It is going to happen when you change and things go like that. But then we take a deep breath and we say, right, let's sit with it, go inside. I will help you grow with mindfulness. What was the term I heard? Something still, authentic stillness. A friend of mine, Renee B. We haven't met in person, but on Facebook and all these other social media platforms, I connect with her quite a lot. She's come up with a theme, and I quite like it. I might take it on a little bit. Authentic stillness and mindfulness as being the theme for the year, or her words and terms and values for the year. And it's quite nice to actually have those as well to help you with your growth, in that you are trying to learn to center yourself. You're learning to think clearly, operate from a more conscious thought process, working with your thoughts consciously, moving forward. All right, and forward again, it's not always about positive thinking. It's about moving forward, making changes and growing with what you're doing, where you feel fulfilled, where you come first in your life. Every step you take is a conscious move towards achieving whatever it is you want to achieve in any given moment. Growth, change shakes things up. Okay, it's like taking the snow globe and watching everything settle, but it all settles in different places and your feet land differently. It's changing the dances, it's changing things forward into a more smooth flowing path, if that makes sense. It's going with the flow more than deciding, right, this is what I want to do, and forcing things to go a certain way. If it doesn't want to happen, it's not going to happen. It can be very hard if things don't happen naturally. Change and growth also challenges your creative thinking. It forces you to think before you respond. And that's the end of my notes. So whether this video makes sense or not, I'm hoping I've actually put in a few good notes. It's very difficult to always just make a video that flows smoothly. I like working with people. Life doesn't happen in such a strategic way anymore. There's a flow that needs to start taking place that's a lot more natural, and that's where I'm coming from. So when we work with Live Smart Foundational Development, we're not going to have day 1, this is what we're going to do and achieve. Day 2, this is what we're going to do and achieve. Day 3, day 4, I don't have a 12-week, 6-week, whatever pattern. I might encourage packages of 6 weeks getting together, or 6 sessions, 12 sessions, things like that. And in those sessions, we will build on either what happened from the last time we got together, or begin something new every time, and we can follow through on other things as life actually kind of takes on its own flow. You know, you'll step out in a day and say, right, it's a good day, what is today going to bring? And you don't know what your day is going to bring. You don't know that you're going to drive in traffic and a taxi's just going to pull in front of you, and suddenly there's a flare of anger and you're like, oh my God, is this how my day is going to go today? You don't know who's going to walk into your office or into your space and start sharing their exciting stories in their holiday, and your conversation goes a certain way. Those kind of things are not really planned. And that is actually what life is about. Life is about what comes at you. How are you going to work with what is in front of you in any given moment? And how do you process it? And how do you break it down and go forward? Your children, your husbands, your creative wants and needs as well. So all of it comes in, and all of it is part of your growth. So having said all of this, I hope it made a bit of sense to you, planted a few seeds that we can actually grow with. Please reach out with me or to me on my email for now at livesmartfd@gmail.com. Did I say that right? livesmartfd@gmail.com. I can't tell you why I keep tripping over that email address, but the business is Live Smart Foundational Development, and it's about bringing people in, growing people wide, far, who knows, from communities, groups, person to person, group to group, community to community, across the globe, online, in person. Who knows, we might create retreats where we can all get together and meet once in a while, here, there, and all around the globe as well. I don't know, but I want to grow it, and I want you to join me, and I want it to go somewhere. So it's all about forward thinking, forward movement, and pulling it all together. We'll hope to chat with you soon.